one person cannot change the world, but 10 people, 100 people, 1,000, a million people, they're more powerful than any government. Even if it's the strongest military, they cannot fight the will of the common man. So, what's especially beautiful about these protests, all around the world, people have come together over the same issue, systematic injustice. But what it showed you all around the world is that people are willing to unite about a common cause. So I think as much, there might be some division in our countries, but we have an opportunity, not just in these protests, but around the world and everywhere in between. We have the ability to know that we can come together. We have the ability that we can come together in all circumstances and mend whatever issues we might have and to learn from these circumstances.
Yeah, I agree. We are all coming together. I wish that it didn't have to be for a cause that's so horrible,
Yep.
but completely right.
And there's been a lot of change that have come from these protests, not just from the disbandment of the Minnesota Police Department, but what I read today is that that Congress was working on a police force reform. So they were looking to, instead of making it, kind of changing some of the policies. I haven't looked too much into it, so I don't know all too much. But there was this fund. I'm trying to find the exact name of it, but it's what people are pushing for reform.
I
And
think this is the bill with Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, and the senator from New Jersey, right?
yeah, I'm trying to remember. This was before they pushed the policy. I don't remember exactly what the name of it was, but they were talking about how if we had a better vetting system with the police department, getting rid of incentivizing incarcerations, things like I think there was 8 steps total. I'll have to look this up real quick.
Yeah, for sure.
8 steps, police. Yeah, hold on. Because hold on a second. I should just pull these up earlier. Shame.
You're good.
Because it talks about the 8 can't. Here we go. Yes, it's the 8 can't wait. So we ban chokeholds and strangleholds, require de-escalation, require warning before shooting, exhaust all other means before shooting, duty to intervene, ban shootings at moving vehicles, require use force continuum, comprehensive reporting. I don't know if this is the exact video that I was talking about, but essentially, I think a huge issue in the police force is we have these bad apples, but these bad apples go unchecked. So when these bad apples go unchecked, these people aren't held accountable. It could be the same in politics as well, but especially going back to the police force. There's this really great line by Chris Rock. It's one of his stand-ups. He says, he talks about the bad apples. He's like, there's no bad apples in a flight attendant. We don't just say, most of us like to fly safely, but we have a few bad apples that occasionally like to fly into mountains. We don't have any of those. I think it's the same with the police force. There shouldn't be bad apples in the police force. It's held too high of a regard. It's a prestigious position.
Yeah, I think police are incredibly underpaid. They're undertrained, and there's too much expected of them to act justly. It's like, if you look at it right now, what's happening is we ask our police to be social workers in many a case. We ask them to be everything that they're not. Like, in many ways, when you in any situation in society, you've been taught to call 911 if there's any discomfort or uncomfort. So what will happen is you'll have a daughter and a mother fighting, sometimes physically, and then instead of calling a social worker, you call 911, and they send in a guy with a badge and weapons. All people with a badge, all people with weapons know how to do is use their weapons. You don't give them the correct tools and the correct uh, education to make good decisions in a a pressurized situation. I think that in most um, police forces in the United States, do you know how long you have to train to be an officer?
Not very long, right? Not very long, right?
4 months.
4 months.
Yeah. So it's like, of course, they're not going to act justly. You don't expect a lot from them, and you don't give them the right tools.
I saw this graphic. It showed how many hours you need to get a what the fuck is that word called for cutting hair? Like, it takes more training to cut hair than it does to become a police officer.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, pastry chef.
and a pastry chef. That's fucking ridiculous. Like, why is that even in place now? Why do we have to push for that now? That should have been in place years ago. That's ridiculous. Thanks for watching this clip from the Everything Under the Sun podcast. If you want to listen to the full podcast, you can go to Spotify, Apple Podcast, or anywhere else you get your podcast. To watch more segments from the show, you can follow our Instagram page, our Facebook page, or subscribe to our YouTube channel at Everything Under the Sun.